Hello everybody, my name is Franklin Farnham. I live here in North Andover off Main Street, and I have for the past 18 years. And I come here this afternoon to share my poetry with you, and I hope you enjoy it. So here goes. I have devoted these three pieces to the story of the Merrimack River and of the mills that align her. This is what I wrote. I have walked these many shores, these gritty shores, in search of a key to unlock the path to a city's destiny. I do not know her source before the mills were built, but hear their thunder when wool was spun from somewhere deep within the river's run. Along her shores still the wildflowers bloom, as though in defiance of a desert noon. In the fall's wild cascade where the river turned in her massive day, the clock tower stopped on history's stage. We can read her book and learn where blood and tears stained every page. Flight of the Gull. In dawn's sharp chill, beyond her crest, I feel the thunder of the looms deep within my breast. They tell a tale of pain, the immigrant's plight, uprooted from their homes in a long, dark night. Here on the river's shores they made their stand. Here to America came this troubled band. I turned to the falls of the great stone dam and turned again to see downstream where the river chased and ran, down to a blackened sea, a sea that sank the river's might, but could not drown the tears and pain where the lonely gull took flight. This third piece is entitled Centuries of the Past, and here's what I wrote. They are hollow now, these red brick mills that line a brooding river, silent in dawn's brittle chill. The Pemberton, the Pacific, the wood. Centuries of the past, when wool was king, along the river's chase, splendid in her dash. How striking in the dusk when dawn takes hold, and all the glass reflects her tattered soul. And now I tread the river's walk, from the Falls Bridge to the Oxford paper mill below, through yellow straw where wild flowers bloomed, blue, white, and gold. I trace footsteps of the past, and feel at last the highest sun of noon. One can still hear the waters crash over the great stone dam, and feel the rumble when the tower clock struck 12 in the sweep of her black wrought iron hands. How silent now these sleepy mills, for their hour has passed on a once proud stage, their life once thunder in a brighter day. I wrote this. The title of the poem is Joyous, the Gentle Winds of Spring. And here's what I wrote. Joyous, the gentle winds of spring, let the heavens be graced where the cherub chorus sings of love's unselfish gift to share in all its pageantry, in the bells that ring, in city and the village square, of love so fragile and breath so fair. I cannot shape the seamless seas, nor embrace the winds of change, but I can feel the gift of love, and in its music dance, a most joyous dance. Such is the stuff of love, in its warm embrace, in its warm romance. Two lives entwined in a toss of the dice. How the dice roll is but folly and simple chance. What I have here is a potpourri of, one doesn't relate to the other in any immediate structural sense. However, this is what I wrote, and I hope you enjoy it. The storm. Listless waves lick the beach, cleansing wounds from the fight. Too tired the higher ground to reach, surrendered in the night. Spent in rage, the sea now slept. Her thunder echoed still in the dunes wild grass swept, prone to her savage will. Lobster traps washed ashore, scattered on the beach, whose broken ribs could not endure the crush of rocks beneath. Seashells glittered on the sand, the morning sun revealed, pearls strewed by an unseen hand, the savage night concealed. Gray clouds hung like puffs of smoke, brushed the seashore sky, like scars that mark a massive stroke where a lonely seagull cries. I wrote this on humility. A mathematician I'm not. However, this is what I wrote. Of the two, I climbed the higher peak on a crisp and windless autumn day and learned what I thought not to seek, of a geometry lesson gone happily astray. Great patches of lemon yellow squares cut clean as with a warm, sharp butter knife, or where a laser transit took great care to right angle every single slice. From their axes to the edge, a sleepy river and border hedge joined hands where they were wed to choose a path less precise instead. To alter by any 1 degree or benchmark where it is driven deep, and transit line when it was shot, of such man-made device on the river's course was lost. Sour Music is the title. The rusty sign defined the place, better lit than the midnight road, and piano music found its way in the windows, lanterns glow. The August sun was warm and thick, summer corn was ripe. Salty road does parch my lips, and I would ride no more tonight. Through the door I slowly stepped, settled my elbows on the bar. Whiskey and water wet my lips when an outlaw spied my star. The piano player played no more. Silence fell to the lone guitar. Shots rang out. The outlaw slumped, lifeless, to the floor. One shot struck the mirrored wall, shattered in the lantern's glow. My horse in fear recoiled. We turned to meet the road. Behind, the piano softly played to the guitar's weeping tone, and down my arm warm blood ran. The lawman and his horse slowly made their way for home. But a bullet found its mark. The outlaw knew his gain. My horse moored a dead man, clinging to his mane. I wrote the following. Night of the Dead. Winter's wind flung wide the heavy door, tending passage to hurried guests. Quickly quayed in measured step, gauged the room in darting eye, where music set a somber tone. Their calling here would not be met. Their bedded host will not rise to greet his uninvited guests. Heavy drapes drawn by unseen hands for all to see, their only reason there to be. Close they came to peer within, there to measure loss of him, and mark the meaning of it all. Oak-paneled walls of taste, leather chairs not meant for use, crimson rug and velvet purple drape, the stage well set, the lonely usher who's place to wait in cold and marble hall. Dripping candles claim the night to fill each guest in solemn light. The usher then, in silent pace, took before the gathering his somber place and gestured to one and all. 6 strong men in black and gray slowly made their somber way to hoist the casket shoulder high. Candles struggled in their wake as out they passed through the rusting gate to the waiting grave outside. Was little left there to be said, no probe or query of the dead. All stood silent in the snow. The usher then, in silent pace, urged the mourners on their way. Each passed the coffin a last goodbye, the mud well sopping feet, as all passed by the hole so deep. Empty now, but not for long. The bearers drew the coffin near, while in the distance all could hear organ music swell. With coffin lowered and prayers said, fresh earth shouldered o'er the dead, and flowers cast below, night settled on the grave. Dusk gave way to stars above. The guests left the way they came. No need in them for earthly stuff. They too were dead. I wrote this. Hopefully it's a playful piece. I really enjoy it. The Captain's Pride is the title. Her mast proud against the blue, white sails shaking in the wind, timbered bow cut straight and true, dashing for her prize to win. Swift and gallant now she rode, bound for Jamaica out of Portugal. Plank of teak stem to stern, free from earth and brick, slashed through heavy surf. The captain smiled. Her pace was quick. Rig sail aloft, he cried, a lucky omen on the tide. Steering deeper into deeper seas, dolphins splashed about her side. Time saved is distant maid, the first mate winked amused. Gold coin the captain's take, bleeding hands the only pay for his loyal crew. Darkness fell across the bow, she bore on through the night. Ragged sail, splintered beam, below her crew, filled with fright. Playful dolphins no longer seen to splash about her side. Dark and ugly clouds appeared, where seagulls danced on high. Ocean swells grew black and deep to smash against her prow. Stinging rain lashed the bridge. Cold sweat gripped the helmsman's brow. Day broke to find the ship lashed by wind and rain. A rogue wave crushed the deck, snapping sail from the main. Crippled she tossed in fright, chased by a vengeful sea. No rudder now to steer her course, the bell tolled mournfully. Relentless waves swamped the bridge. The captain cringed inside. His crew below in sweaty knots. Their time had come to die. The morning sun revealed the wreck, carried on the tide. Jamaica's beach claimed the hull. The crew, dead inside. The captain, lifeless on the beach, still clutching in his hand gold coin he longed to take to his home and distant land. I wrote this. The title of the poem is The Celestial Silver Bullet. And this is what I wrote. I didn't think to knock. No one really said, come in, but took my place as I would with the others at the inn. At the door I stood drinking in the scene and wondered aloud to myself if before this room I'd seen. The faces turned to me, curious as they were, to find there standing at that door a face all had seen before. Not in the same room, perhaps, maybe further down the road, or at another inn. That's just possible, you know. The room about it had a chill, though the door I closed behind. I knew it not to be the room. The chill I felt was mine. A faint distraction stirred the crowd. A distant whistle blew. The whistle they all waited for. The whistle they all knew. A voice cried, "Last call." The crowd rushed the floor, while the silver coach awaiting hissing just outside the door. All filled their goblets to toast their demise, drinking to each other, and then to say goodbye. The whistle close and louder now, the crowd quiet and tense. The whistle a chilling shrill, the crowd about its business went. While waiting just outside, the celestial silver bullet readied their last ride. The ticket taker forced the door. There in the sun, the celestial silver bullet, shine and polish, ready for her run. The crowd quayed in the mist. their nervous laughter empty now. In the west, the setting sun, while a rainbow arched the train, for these whose work on earth was done, while the celestial silver bullet was making her last run. I wrote this in honor of the men who died on the beaches of Normandy, June the 6th, 1944. And this is what I wrote. Simple men, these blokes, from the farm and from the shore, torn from house and home, suited by the corps. Their hope was surely not to mark their place in rows of simple crosses white, nor did they think to endure mortal death over cherished life. Yet beneath the stars and stripes they lie, graced in rows of white painted wood. And if they now to us could speak, would make it clearly understood. If life were theirs, their life would surely give, for theirs was given, not in vain, but in freedom both and brotherhood. I wrote this. I hope you enjoy it. The title of the poem is Last Call. The barn door I gently shut against the summer wind. Garden tools I laid to rest. I'll not see them again. The tavern on the bay awaits. Through her sun-splashed door I trudged to every village lass and mate, a tearful kiss and hug. The innkeeper filled my mug, lime and Jamaican rum. I'll taste again salty brine. High tide is on the run. 8 rings on the ship's bell. Ahead the harbor's mouth to row, to a rolling ship in green swells. A wind from the west now blows. So remember me to the girls who cry, and to the lusty tales they tell, and to the motley crew who spill their guts. We'll stroke again the fires below. We'll tip a few in hell. Oh, to taste again salt and spray against my face and lips, to pitch and toss as the white sails shake above the starboard flying bridge, to feel through my finger slip line where she pulls taut, the snap of billowed sail where the wind in her is caught. Cast off for the running tide, no creature long awaits, while under stars her deck my bed, and peace with God I'll make. Last call, the innkeeper cried, on through the swells she rolled. A sailor swept on the evening tide, his spirit there in tow. The title of the poem is The Storm. Listless waves lick the beach, cleansing wounds from the fight. Too tired the higher ground to reach, surrendered in the night. Spent in rage the sea now slept, her thunder echoed still. In the dunes wild grass swept, prone to her savage will. Lobster traps washed ashore, scattered on the beach, whose broken ribs could not endure the crush of rocks beneath. Seashells glittered on the sand, the morning sun revealed, pearls strewn by an unseen hand, the savage night concealed. Gray clouds hung like puffs of smoke, brushed the seashore sky, like scars that mark a massive stroke where the lonely seagull cries. I wrote this for John Kennedy, President of the United States, for his brother Bobby, the Attorney General, and for Martin Luther King. Who today for us is there when those who dreamed were trampled underfoot and felled by bullets on the air? The bold and strong who dared to plant the seed of hope, torn from the earth, for the warm winds they stirred, cut down by hate, for the work they started. Good and decent men of our ship of state, these captains, John and Bob and Martin. Who among us dares to dream when bronze and chiseled stone mock the roses trampled underneath our feet? On a lighter note, I wrote this, and I hope you enjoy it. Of Hills and Daffodils, the title of the poem, and this is what I wrote. I have walked these many miles to see a sunset on the plains, and stopped to ask a stranger where we met. Sir, Do you know its name? He stared ahead unspeaking, unwilling to reply. But these plains sing a simple song of a rainbow's lullaby. The music carried in me has neither note nor rill, and the sunset in the evening towers bright upon the hills. I do not know this beggar, who to me would not speak, yet I know he loves the sunset as I so love the hills. Perhaps one day we'll meet again, and to me he will speak of his life and longing, and share a love unspoken on the plains of daffodils. I wrote the following, and I hope you enjoy it. The title of the poem is In His Praise. Somewhere there is a tomorrow in a dawn bright and glowing that lifts the heart from sorrow and plants in soul a seed forever blooming. A dawn so warm and rich as to kiss each radiant cheek that seeks out a downcast eye in a promise meant to keep, in a promise of eternal love without fences facing, where we can sail above the stain of tears and feel a love all embracing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed my reading as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I think it's very, very important that I make that connection with this audience because this is all quite new to me. This TV stuff is really quite new, and I'm enjoying every moment of it.